One question, an amazing lineup of CEOs, founders, and experts. This is Marketing for the Now.
Super excited.
Can you hear me? You're 50th.
Thank you so much.
That made me feel
Thanks for having me. I love how both
realize up your back.
So glad to be
You really
Marketing for Now.
Before we go into the power of community, I think, Tinder's on such a cool journey from my perspective. And obviously so many of the people who are watching right now are very aware of the brand, given its importance in culture. Just for fun, what are one or two things for the people that maybe haven't been keeping up with it or, aren't looking at the app every day, given where they are in their life cycle with relationships? What's a thing or two that people don't realize about Tinder May 9th, 2023?
I love that question. So one is an estimated 40 to 50% of relationships start on an app. For heterosexual couples. For LGBTQ, it's as high as 70 to 80%. So dating apps are driving a lot of love, a lot of connection. And what you may not know about Tinder is that 40% of people on Tinder are looking for something serious. We have a fun reputation, and we're definitely that, but there's so many people looking for love around the world on Tinder. And by the way, Vayner's been an awesome partner of Tinder's in getting that story out and getting people to look at us in a slightly
well, I think that's an interesting point. When I think about marketing and branding and then just common sense of life, the amount of people pre-internet, pre-apps, pre the cell phone that were in their mind going to a bar to hook up, which is a human thing to do. Yeah. That ended up meeting the person that they married for 40 years was very, very, very common. I would argue, I would argue a shocking percentage of the marriages in the world, whether done on the internet or in real life at a train station or at an office, that both parties weren't both in the mindset that hey, within the next couple of months, I'd love to be, to find my spouse. Obviously some were, obviously There's plenty of people that both are, but I always thought that Tinder was, I actually remember arguing this at South by Southwest a year or two after Tinder got really big. We used to do these jam sessions, and I actually argued that Tinder would be the biggest marriage site in the world. And my argument was that the internet and technology, all it does is scale what is naturally happening. And I felt that naturally in life, what was happening was many people were just looking to go on a date or two or to have, a casual relationship, but then ended up falling in love with the person that they were doing that with.
By the way, you're totally right. So many people I'm not sure what I'm looking for. I don't know. But I want to make connection, real connection, and real community starts with that one-on-one connection, right? And so you are right. There's a really interesting study that came out of the UK and researchers, I believe it was the UK, researchers went back. It's not a Tinder study. And it looked at a really interesting insight about connection. And that was, this is so interesting, an explosion in interracial marriages. Mm-hmm. And they were trying to understand, what is the cause of this? Why did we go from here to this unbelievable jump? And by the way, I'm in an interracial marriage. I care deeply about understanding the drivers of why do we like who we like? Why do we marry who we marry? What are the cultural forces at play there? And the ingredient to that was Tinder. The ingredient to this explosion in interracial marriages is Tinder. And then researchers went back, and MIT Review covered this just 2 months ago. Is that still the case? Do we think Tinder's playing that role? And they confirmed again it was Tinder. And part of the power of that is you show up on Tinder, and first we want to affirm who you are. Are you straight, gay, short, tall, whatever that is? It's awesome. What are you looking for? Whatever you're looking for, that's great too. You might be looking for tonight. You might be looking for forever, or maybe you're not sure. That's great too. We're going to have the technology to support that. And so many people, that's turning into something more. In fact, one of the ad spots that's getting a ton of traction and some virality on TikTok is a spot that's when you matched on Tinder, you thought it was just a one night stand. Yeah. That turned into 2 nightstands. Get it?
Love that.
Get it?
Very clever. Real quick, Marie, this is not pre-recorded. I see your question on Facebook. We are live. It's May 9th, 12:07 Eastern time. All right, Melissa, let's go into the concept of this 3rd year anniversary of Marketing for the Now, the power of community. You've had a very successful career as a senior marketer. You are admired by many of your contemporaries. So I would love to get your subjective and strategic opinion on this. When you hear the power of community, where does your mind go within the context of your current role, but maybe even broader for brands that, may be selling batteries or coffee or sneakers or timeshares?
Yeah, I love that. Listen, I think community is such a critical ingredient in our life. And we're not even aware of that. When you ask someone, wow, I saw that you were at the high school basketball game this weekend. What was it? And oftentimes they'll say, oh, well, I like the competition of it all. Or maybe I went to high school there. It's really what they're getting to is community, is feeling like you're connected around something, and the power of what that does in our lives. And it doesn't, Gary, you have such an interesting, unbelievable career. When you think about the moments that are really so positive in your life, that I bet that all comes back to this idea of community. And, my world for over 6 years is studying that and working with the most famous and impressive social anthropologists, psychologists, sociologists, researchers in the world, academics, professors, people identifying and discovering new species, and how did they connect and what drove that. And the role that community plays in our lives is one we don't get enough airtime to. So when I was talking to your team about this subject, I'm like, I get so jazzed and so moved about that. And in my world of dating, dating's one of these things where people are like, I hate dating apps. It's so hard. And by the way, yes, I'm an executive at the biggest dating app in the world. And I can say, I get it. Dating is really hard. But when you put yourself out there, you're building that community. And by the way, everybody feels that way. Everybody feels like, oh, I'm a little bit nervous.
Nobody wants rejection.
Nobody wants rejection. But when you do it, it's really tough until you find your person. And then
it's ROI positive.
Worth it, right?
Of course. Quick side note, as I continue to interact with the community that is here, Tatiana D is razzing me. I wasn't speaking to Melissa. I know she's saying to me, Gary, make sure you know your guest's name. I'm very aware of Melissa's name. What I was saying earlier, Tatiana, was Marie was in the comments asking if this was live, and I was answering that. So just to give you a little clarity on that. Melissa, parting words as we go into the next guest. What should the entrepreneurs here that are trying to build community think about when building community?
It's that outreach. It's that first message. I give people advice all the time on how do I build connections on Tinder, and I say, ask questions. So, I like to give a little piece of advice is, whether you see an app that you like or a profile that you like on Tinder, or you see someone that's a leader in your own community and you want to learn from them, is ask the questions. Hey, I'm really impressed with what you've done. Could I pick your brain for 2 minutes on a Zoom and get your take on how you got there and what that is? I think curiosity helps drive that. And Gary, I think that's a testament to some of the things that you've done in building relationships with notables from all these industries around the world, is asking those questions and ask people to share what they know and what they've learned. So thanks for letting me come on and talk about this. I love it. I can't wait to come out to VCon. I'm from Indiana. I'm a Hoosier. So I was probably the person most excited. I'm like, I don't care what this session is on. Gary wants to get people together in Indianapolis. My family's going to be there. So
I love it. Melissa, thank you for being on. Have the best day.